Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles with Bust number 663. Today we'll be doing battle with Dooley. And so this will be our last battle, I think, on this January the 22nd patch. I wish these patches just had much more clever names, but this is the January 2022 patch, January 22nd, 2025 patch. Jesus Christ, I'm losing it. But I believe that Reynad said the updates to the MMR system should be coming out later today. I could be wrong on that, but I don't know if that update includes a full balanced release or if it's just more of a technical release like they've done in the past. We'll have to see how much longer we're playing on this patch physically. But I'm very interested to see what they do in the MMR system. It's so interesting in the sense that the game designers get to define what a winning game is, but it hasn't really been stated what a winning game is, right? As far as the game right now goes, it feels like if you're looking to climb an MMR, that is kind of a game on its own. If you're trying to get ranked tickets, that's such a zero-sum game of having to get 10 wins that you have a different strategy there. Or as what is, I think, is probably a win in getting to 7 wins over the course of the game. Doesn't really feel like a win because if you go like 7 and 6, it feels like the MMR difference is way different than going, say, like 7 and 2. So if you lose, say, the first 5 days in a row, and then get to 7 wins and then lose, that seems much different than, say, starting out 7-0 and then losing the last two and that prestige falls off. And so I'm very interested to see how it plays out. As it hasn't really been stated. It's really just like, okay, well, 10 wins gets me 3 chests, or 10 wins gets me the ranked ticket in a free-to-play mode. It's very interesting. Like, the actual best strategy to climbing MMR is probably something like starting the run, seeing if you get good items. If you do, play to like day 4, and then just quit, and then jump back in a new run, and not play it actually out to the end, to where the RNG gets much heavier. But nonetheless, that's all speculation. Who knows? It's fun to do, but not a ton of value in it. Let's jump into this run, get into the real meat of the things that we know that we're able to do. And so it looks like we got a companion core, V core, and weaponized core. I'm going to jump into the companion core this game. I can't remember if we've touched on the companion core as far as Dooley goes on this patch, but we'll make the most of whatever we can do here. And so, as I like to start out all of these runs, ideally, on the first 2 days, we're just going to take the experience points, or I should say on the first 2 hours of day one, we'll just take the experience point. We'll do whichever battle we can win. Probably want to go to Banana Bowl for the chance at duct tape. And then on that third hour of shops, that's where we want to spend all of our money. And I like to do it this way because we do get that little bit of income across the way. And so if we have to go to the shop on day one, we have 8 gold. That's all the money we have to spend. But if we go on the last hour of the day, we get any gold we get out of the PvE round. We get anything to where if we went to a lost cavern for 2 gold, 1 experience point, you have that extra money as you jump into that last shop. And then I just highly recommend really jamming the experience points early in this. So, good stuff. We'll see how it plays out. Companion core is out here doing the work. Literal nothing. Literal nothing, but still good enough for the victory. Okay, medkit. All right, so what do we got now? Shop number 2, interesting. We didn't get a real shop. We either have Finn's Big Bite or Curio, and I guess we can jump into Curio. There's some stuff that's kind of interesting in Curio early, especially in kind of parlance to the companion core. So it's like if we find any of the haste items. So if we get gold cloak or if we get rocket boots, both of those can be kind of interesting, especially building towards race Carl or ballista or building towards monitor lizard. And so there's a lot of interesting things that can fall out of this, but there's also just, stuff that's not really on theme with what we're trying to do, in the sense of none of these items are going to be friends outside of maybe like a spider. But Shadow Cloak turns up. This is, again, like very interesting with the haste builds. It's not a friend, so it's not ultra powerful with companion core, but it does give us a lot of strength early, a lot of scaling to where we typically wouldn't get it. Improvised bludgeon is fair. I don't like taking it this early. I only want it for that slow bonus. And we're not going to have any slow items until later in the game. And so if this was, say, like day 3 and we had some cash to spend, I wouldn't be opposed to taking the bludgeon and just banking it. But At this stage, it feels too early. I think it might be okay to just take knee brace, though. There might be a real chance that we can beat whatever opponent turns up on this first stage. Okay, we got we gotta have items that do something though. If we're gonna be doing that, don't have the money to purchase a temporary shelter or a tourist chariot. We can really only pick up a small item at this point. I was hoping to pick up, a weapon a little bit better than Fang, but it looks like Fang is gonna be it. And so, I mean, I guess at the end of the day, we're gonna be getting that 100 max health regardless. You don't have to win the battle to get the money off of knee brace, but I wanted to I wanted to go big with this turn. All right, but Lost Crate it is. A little bit out of order, but made it through the day. See if we get any good skills in here. And so Burn, not super interested in. Crit, not that great either. I do like the duct tape upgraders early. So if you find, give a shield item plus 20 shield, that can be quite strong, but the crit's not quite worth it. We'll just take the left eye, since crit is one of those skills you typically have to work for with Dooley. All right, so yeah, it's gonna play out here. We do at least have this scaling Fang that's gonna be getting haste off of the companion core, and so it's not a completely throwaway round. We do have the chance to actually win, but I really like pushing for wins hard, and this isn't a hard push towards a win, but we might be able to win this round. This Fang's got to be scaling, and so he's not dealing a ton of damage with the Chris Army Knife, and we've got the scaling damage coming out of the Fang. It's going to be hasted quite a bit of the time. Doesn't seem like it's going to be scaling fast enough. But I thought we had a chance. We had a shot. Still give me them Hundy healths. Big timing out here with the healths. Man, it's a little bit short. Bummer. I'm just gonna give up now. I'll see you guys. See you guys in a couple days. See ya. All right, day 2, though. What do we got? And so not a ton of money. I don't really want to be jumping into the Kina shop. Finn's Big Bite will be fine. I would prefer that we had, shield items at this point, duct tape or something, but the regen is fine. We could have probably won that last battle if we had that 5 regen to go with it. Now here, we're going to keep hard going for experience points. Glad to see we get the gold out of it. And now we're into the PvE round. And so knee brace, kind of useless here, but we can't really complain about it otherwise. I don't think we can beat Covetous Thief. Rogue Scrapper is a maybe. I'm a little perplexed how strong we are with that 100 max health. It's such a big amount on this day, right? Typically, you only have 300 hit points running into these battles, and we've got the extra 120 hit points along with the 5 regen. We could probably battle with a lot of this stuff, but I think we'll still just come out and fight the giant mosquito. It can be such a big deal to hit rush. If you're really playing for these builds to get 10 wins, you often need ways to just really start popping off as fast as possible. And so hitting things like rush, hitting things like the eccentric ether right ability rigged, give you that opportunity just to haste right at the start of the battle and get your engine in motion before the opponents can. Get that motion in the ocean, as they say. All right, fairly easy round here. Not a lot of good items out of this outside of the rush, but got that guaranteed victory. And Probiscus, not going to use that. So here, I'm just going to take the bronze tier item. Hopefully we spike a friend or something. We need to get units that we can get on board right now so that we can fill out the board before we hit the next PvE round. Now this is kind of interesting. Another curio turns up. I'm a little bummed in how this is panning itself out. I guess this is okay. Like, if we get an upgrade to Shadow Cloak, that might carry us kind of hard for a little bit. So I hate passing up on these experience points, and There's nothing really like on theme that we're going to hit at a curio. We can get some small upgrades, right? You could get the upgrade to Shadow Cloak, get those boots, maybe find even like Damage Lantern, whatever that thing is called, the sell to give 5 attack to an item. Like that would be decent here, but we're not, we're just building a decent board. We're not like building any synergies or anything. And so I think I'm just going to take the experience point here, save our money for the next shop. Hopefully we get a good shop turn up out of this one. Medium items should be okay. And so the thing that I'm kind of leaning towards here early is we need that direction, right? Do we want to go towards Monitor Lizard, which I think is really only a 7-win kind of item in this patch. It's not that it's bad, it's just not good at getting 10 wins. And right, as we kind of prefaced in this video, it's tough to know what the developers really want to consider a win to be. Is that 7-win mark over here to where you're getting, you know, the silver victory a win? Like if you're playing Teamfight Tactics, first place and fourth place is still a win. While in this game, it feels like the victories or the MMR is all tied to the actual opponents you play, the actual combats, and not the victories themselves. And so I think, you know, with that in mind, the Lizard's good to getting a 7. If you want to get to 10, you need to be on like a Ballista build or some kind of Armadillo combo. And so Armadillo is going to be fine here. He's super strong on his own, even without any of the other combos. He's just way overtuned with that 50 damage that he deals at this stage. So we're going to stack him in. Kind of interested in Blast Doors. There's a lot of builds that just can't beat it. And so let's go ahead and pick that one up. Now that we only have 4 gold, I think we'll just go ahead and stop. And so not super interested in keeping Companion Core in. Am interested in having Knee Brace in. And then I just want to see Proboscis doesn't do anything. I want to get the Shadow Cloak on the Armadillo, and then get the Blast Doors in. Now, who does more deeps? The Fang does, God, make me do this math, 1.25 a second. Hamlet does 4 a second, essentially. No, hang on, he does 2. 2 point something a second. Jesus Christ, this is tough. This is tough. This is tough. So I did not come here for the mathematics today. Man, speaking of the mathematics, I got zinged this weekend. I got boomed real hard. It was a bit of a learning experience in the sense that, you know, growing up, I always thought it was super weird that people would take their kids to like Disney World when they were 3. You know, it's like taking a 3-year-old to Disney World. You're spending thousands of dollars to do it, and you get to like visually see the kid have a good time, but they're not going to fucking remember it, right? That kid's not going to be like, oh, I remember being 3 years old and high-fiving Mickey Mouse and stuff. They're not going to remember it, and so like, what's the point? But now that I have an infant running around, the Chiefs are in the Super Bowl, and I'm wanting to make it, you know, kind of special. I know the baby's not going to fucking remember it, but you still want to make it a little special nonetheless. And so we needed to get it a Chiefs shirt, a Chiefs onesie, a Chiefs jersey, something to wear during the Super Bowl. And so I went to go and do that over the weekend. And, you know, the shirts were like $20, which is a scam, right? The baby is going to have like a 3-month window of its life that it will even fit in the shirt. But it's probably going to wear it maybe like once or twice and then be done with it. And so it's really kind of a scam spending like $20, $30 on a baby shirt. But, you know, it's like taking the kid to Disney World, right? It's not gonna remember it, but it's part of the experience. And so we'll burn a little cash on it. And so it's like I'm in the shirt section, and it's like they're like $20, $25, $20, $25, whatever. And then it's like you get to a jersey, and it's like, oh, that's going to be cute. We'll get him a little Patrick Mahomes jersey. He's going to look great. Like, just thought it was $20 like all the rest of them and moved on with our day. And so it was like we got the jersey. It doesn't have feet on it, so you had to get socks as well. We got some sweet Travis Kelce socks. Those were like $20. And then I got a hoodie, and so like I knew how much that was, took it up to the counter, and like the price is exorbitant. Like it's so super expensive. I thought they just rang something up twice, and it was like when I got to looking at the receipt, it was like the jersey was $50, and I was like, oh, fuck me, we just got this kid like a $70 outfit that it's gonna wear once. and then we just got to get rid of it after the fact. I'm like, this is ridiculous. And so he's gonna look good. Hopefully the Chiefs win, and maybe he gets an excuse to wear the outfit again. But as we were zooming through the Bazaar, I just got fucking zinged, getting zinged by the Bazaarians, getting zinged by the jersey sellers. Such a fucking scam. But all right, let's jump back into the battles here. And so I'm going to take the upgrade. Now, with this stuff, there's a couple of interesting things, right? I do like getting at least one upgrade on Companion Core. Feels like 3 seconds of haste is kind of the sweet spot. And so I don't like to go super all in on jamming a bunch of upgrades on the Companion Core, but I do want to get at least one. So that's something we'll keep in mind. We do have kind of an interest in Shadow Cloak. The thing with upgrading Shadow Cloak is we can't find it anywhere else, right? This is a Jarvan the Fourth item over here. Jarvan the Fourth shops don't show up. And so if we ever want the Shadow Cloak to upgrade, we have to burn these upgrades on it and then hope to find it elsewhere. Now with this build, I don't think we're going to stick to Shadow Cloak. You know, like we'll maybe get into a spot to where we have Ballista, we have Companion Core. Both of those hastes are feeding onto the Ballista, and that's strong for a while. But you can just replace the Shadow Cloak with Metronome and be in a better spot. So it's not like an item we want to keep forever. It's nice that it gives us synergies early, but it's not a forever item. The thing I'm looking at probably upgrading here is Armadillo. I'm a little worried about upgrading Armadillo in the sense that we're either going poison or we're going damage. If we're going damage, we don't really want to be a Armadillo build. Like Armadillo in Companion Core is kind of a high roll thing, right? To where you accidentally found like a shielded Ballista, and the shielded Ballista is giving shield activations onto the Armadillo, so you have that and duct tape and you're churning off a bunch of things. Like that's a high roll find, but it's not a duct tape Armadillo build. I don't like really diving into it with Companion Core. And so I kind of want to upgrade the Armadillo, but I think I'm just going to sink our single upgrade into the Companion Core now, because this is the one that we're just going to use forever, right? We're probably not assembling a build that doesn't play Companion Core in it. And so I think it's probably a little safer at this point to just get the Companion Core upgraded. And then if we do find duct tape or find a good golden item, we'll probably sink the rest of that into Armadillo. All right, though. Next set, I love fighting the eccentric Aetheryte. Lots of great options for us here. Ideally, be picking up the rigged, but, you know, maybe you find something to do with force field or with scrap. It's not completely out of the equation that, you know, force field makes its way into the build for a little bit. Ooh, $50 Patrick Mahomes jerseys. Bullshit. You better get that Pat trick, the three-peat out there. Whew. It's tough. Alright, this one's almost done. Looking good. Getting that victory. Give us that rigged. Give us that 20%er. Make Bust feel good about life. Nope. The goggles come in? Sure. So, all right, we got a mountain pass in here. We'll take probably 95% of the mountain passes that turn up. Just such an overtuned adventure at this point. These PvE rounds probably need to be more challenging. It's a tough spot in the sense that, you know, there's a few different ways that you can tune this encounter. If you set it to where the item just turns up with a really high frequency, then it just becomes kind of like an RNG battle with this thing. But it definitely feels like it's just like a free 2 to 3 experience points every single time, which is too easy at the moment. You occasionally lose to it, which feels kind of bad, but it's a, in general, super good, super easy encounter. All right, moving on, though. Don't want to borrow. No gumballs. Only one option left. First, Aiden turns up. Definitely interested in him. Bomb Squad, also good with the Companion Core. We don't really care about burning, but the haste activations can be very big. If we're going Race Carl, going Ballista, you kind of want Bomb Squads out there just to be a haste generator. So we'll take it. Not interested in Welding Torch. We won't be a dedicated burn build this game. And then now garbage on the second set. Not doing shield stuff, not doing tech stuff. Let's get that out of here. Into the skills, anything useful? Not in the first one. Burn 4 items and something poison. Get past it. Interesting stuff in here. We have reserve shield, which is fine. Oh, no, that's the large item one. I thought it was the start of battle gain shields. And so it's either core upgrade or when you use a vehicle, your items gain crit. Now, this Let me check. Hamlet is not a vehicle, but Race Carl is. And I usually like to build towards Race Carl Ballista with these builds, or do Race Carl plus Bulldozer. And so you have a scaling item that doesn't need other stuff to scale, that being either Bulldozer or Ballista, and then you just have a big haste activator in Race Carl. So Race Carl's churning off a bunch of activations. Those activations are tying into companion core activations. Those companion core activations give you hastes, and the big cycle gets to continue from there. And so if we're going to build towards Race Carl, Flashy Pilot fixes a lot of our problems to where Dooley's not particularly good at generating critical strikes. And so happy to snatch that up. Now, what are we going to do here? I'm not super interested in the Shadow Cloak anymore. Like, I think this is probably our last round to use Knee Brace. I still feel pretty okay with Knee Brace. I feel okay with Blast Doors. I think I'm leaning towards this, to where we bring first Aiden and Bomb Squad in. Because the scaling damage from the Shadow Cloak onto the Armadillo isn't that much. He does get, you know, a fair amount of haste from the Cloak, but I think adding in the two friends is probably going to just be a little bit better. Just generating enough haste onto the Armadillo and not worrying about that extra 12 damage that he's going to do. All right, let's boom him.
My fight isn't with you, but if you insist.
Okay, going places, going places. What we got here? Scimitar. I think we're okay with this. Man, it's so wild having so much extra health. I've never knee braced round after round after round, and so it's been very interesting just seeing our health scale up so much. This makes me kind of interested in, again, like, it feels like at this stage of the game, like, you would call it like open forwarding in Teamfight Tactics, to where you intentionally lose early for the economic boost. You can, you know, kind of do that. How close is this? God, I got him to 38. Knew that was going to be very close at the end. You can kind of do that in this game. There's some builds that feel kind of okay pushing into day 15. But I'm curious if there's not something, you know, with like this knee brace and just keeping it in early and stuff. Probably not super worth, but it does feel pretty good getting all of these extra stats as we kick off 0-3. We got the 0-3 start, but we got the extra 300 health out of the knee brace, and so we'll see how that adds up as the game progresses. I mean, it's probably a much bigger deal on Pygmalion when he gets the opportunities to get 10% health with a lot of frequency, but anywho, take the abandoned chest. Love getting me some experience points. That feels good. Medium item shop could have been okay. That's where we would find, say, Race Carls, Armadillos, Ballistas, but it's a little early. I think Ballista doesn't turn up until Silver. Race Carl doesn't turn up until Silver. That might not be correct, but that's what it kind of feels like. But we can go to the small and medium item shop now. Hamlet upgrade, sure thing. Otherwise, don't want these items. Armadillo upgrade. Okay, well, it's not bad, you know, in the sense of finding upgrades, just not long-term upgrades again. But here, I don't think we can beat... Well, maybe we can beat Flame Juggler. We do have Blast Doors. I was going to say, if you don't have Sustain, then the Flame Juggler is usually pretty tough to beat. But we have 5 regen along with the Blast Doors. Maybe it's okay. I'm gonna go ahead and just sell Knee Brace. I can't I can't keep it any longer. It's gonna be a problem. I'm gonna be so tempted to get that value. You just gotta get rid of the temptation. Sometimes you can't apply logic to everything you do. You can't say, I gotta stick around for a bonus shop that purchases the small items for more. You gotta say, I know I'm gonna be too tempted by the value when I get to the when I get to the PvP round, and I just gotta get that temptation away from me. Alright, but not bad. Fairly easy round with the Blast Doors giving us a bunch of health. Got all that health from the knee brace as well, and so good deal. What's this? First time the enemy falls below half health, burn 10. Yeah. I guess that's about as good as we could hope for. We're never using any of the items off of that round. Now here, big money off the friend. friend thing. Glad to take it. Getting these good upgrades coming in. Okay, cool. Kev's Armory. Should be perfect with the Armadillo. We'll see if anything really comes out of this. And so, Shielded Wallace, not that great. He at least fits into the theme of what we're doing at the moment. Don't want Chris Army Knife. He's not a real item. Well, I guess we got a bunch of stuff out here, right? I mean, we're going to upgrade the bomb squad. I guess we can keep blast doors for a little bit longer. Again, it's like we're getting upgrades, but it's not upgrades building towards success. All right, what do we got here? Barkham. Barkham ready to buy the knee brace. Nice, Ballista turned up. So perfect, perfect. She's just the big build around in here. She's not a weapon, or I'm sorry, she's not a vehicle, and so we don't get that piece happening with the flashy pilot. We need Race Carl for that, but she is the big scaling piece to this build, and so we'll go ahead and snatch her up. The thing we're going to look to do with Ballista here, let's just go ahead and make some room for her real quick. Something like that. Probably bring Armadillo back in, but we're going to want the Ballista in. Did we play Ballista in the last video? I can't remember. It's been so long since I recorded it, but if you imagine these goggles being metronome, that's the way we're going to want to do this build, is to where first Aiden activates, puts a haste on something, kicks off the metronome, which then puts the haste onto Ballista, and then all the activations from Companion Core put haste back on Ballista as well. So she gets those charges, she gets those scaling attacks off of the haste just happening. So very powerful thing there. With the remainder of this stuff, maybe we do find ourselves just getting rid of blast doors at this point. Having us start kind of like, I don't really want Hamlet without slow stuff. We can put Wallace in. Have a fairly friend-heavy board. At least do have these extra shield bros. I guess the goggles can come out, and we can put Hamlet in place of it. But we have a couple of extra activators for Armadillo. Seems fine. Let's sell off these small items. So we're not playing with blast doors, but we did pick up some sustain. I think that's okay. Let's take a roll. We got the money now. Nothing we want out of this stuff. Okay. All right. Off to battle. Getting somewhere.
I may be young for a captain.
E-Bomb. I wonder if E-Bomb owns E-Bomb's World. How many of you millennials remember that gem? Back in the back in the days before social media, you go fire up the E-Bomb's World and play a Flash game. That's what they did, right? E-Bomb's World was the Flash games. I don't think it was a weird video site. Wonder if they're still around. Hopefully they got to cash out. They sell their site to AOL. Y'all know what AOL was? You get your America Online disc. Get on the AOL, hit up a chat room.
Next time, boys, less blunder.
Dims were the
more
days, huh?
thunder.
Dims were the days. AOL used to buy a ton of shit, though. They bought some newspapers, bought some anything that was like tangentially related to news. They went out and purchased, spent millions of dollars on. So I was curious if E-Bomb's World picked up on that money pit. All right, though. Not a ton of shopping to do. We don't have a ton of money here, so we'll just take the chocolate bars. I'm just going to sell them. Barkham doesn't have to give us any extra money today. Again, only having 12, I think we'll just continue to take the Lost Crate. I do really love getting me an experience point. And now we can come and fight the mod squad. Now, I'm not super interested in Bulldozer. Like, I guess we have opportunities to pivot here, right? But Bulldozer is the other kind of scaling build-around thing that we would be interested in. He has the use a friend, get the bonus damage, very similar to Ballista having when you haste, get the bonus damage. He is a vehicle, which is kind of friendly to that flashy pilot that we're looking to use. But it's kind of one or the other. I don't think we ever want to use both. It's too many hexes taken up for items. Chris Army Knife turns up. We already told you we didn't want you, my friend. We said, get out of here, bruh. All right, let's upgrade a silver. I think we're probably locked into just upgrading Ballista at this point. All right, next set, though. We got a decent amount of cash. I'm kind of interested in Lost and Found. There's so many good like small haste items. There's so many good things, just like first Aiden that we could pick up. Maybe it's not terrible. We do have a fairly good amount of money, though. We'll take it. Maybe we'll burn the money on the next shop. Garbage and thrusters. Now we got a medium item shop. Okay.
Sale, no sale. I want what's
Don't think
right
we
for
want
you.
Clarence. When you use a friend, he gains 10 damage. He's no he's no bulldozer, right? There's a very big difference in using Clarence on this 5-second cooldown and then using bulldozer that gives all of your other cooldowns like minus 30%. It's unreal. He's a nice mid game item, but he's not something that we want going into the late game. And it's like so wild that Armadillo on silver tier just starts out so much stronger, right? We get to get like a full board of activations before Clarence is even good, and then you got to wait for another full board of activations for him to be better. But nothing we want here.
You leave it behind, someone else finds it. It all works out.
All right, so a bit unfortunate in the last few shops. We could have gone about those in a different order, but I'll still stand by it. I think it was okay. Got to get that knee brace back. That's what we need. Got a scaling pulse rifle coming at us. Looks like Ballista's getting pretty big. We don't have that crit yet, but the damage that she's putting out's a lot more than this pulse rifle. Oh my god, are you kidding me? Okay, that was so close. We got the opponent down to a literal 5 health, and I was afraid that we weren't going to be able to finish that off. But we actually got lucky with this, that burst of flame is what actually did those final points of damage, so we didn't have to wait on the cooldowns to cycle back around. Good stuff. All right, so what's up now? We've got plenty of money, so let's go to small and medium items. Again, a lot of good hits within here. I'll trash in here. Don't want to upgrade these thrusters. Don't want to do burn stuff. Could look at duct tape. Again, I don't intend on being a Armadillo build, but duct tape should be fairly good over the next day or two, right? It's going to be better than Hamlet, I think, and so let's at least add it into the mix. It's only $2, so if we have to sell it, we aren't out a ton of money.
If I don't have what you
We can
need,
go to the medium
I'll
shop.
help you find
Not going to go Dianasar. I think we're scaling fast enough with the Ballista to where we don't need to buy time. You know, you can run into a few different versions of these red companion builds. And you can find yourself with, like, say, an Omega Ray build to where you need to buy a lot of time, and Dianasar does that. I think Ballista just scales up fast enough to not have to fuck around with buying a bunch of time. So we'll skip over that. Into the next set, nothing we can use. We're not going to pivot to Power Drill with this build, I don't think, so we'll skip over it. And then here, I like to just go for gold skills pretty much across the board. Pretty good options within here, and then Static Acceleration is a big one. Getting that 1% crit when you haste. You know, we're not going to get, well, hopefully we get like 10, 15 activations out of a race Carl from our flashy pilot, but there's no guarantees, and we'd like to just hit those hastes as fast as we can. Now, it is interesting, though, with Lefty Lucy getting the haste activator and then counting on the, what's this, airplane maneuvers, flashy pilot to give us the crit that we need. That could be a thing I could get convinced on. So we aren't at least stacking our crit. Just we're really counting on Race Carl to turn up if we're going to be this aggressive. But I think we're strong enough. This next set, we could probably just fight Lone Shark. I want to rearrange just a little bit, though. I want to get this first Aiden to the left to get the most Lefty Lucy activations. Probably, I'd rather keep the hastes coming in on our actual damage output. And then let's put duct tape in next to the Armadillo. Not great combos with... We can put the bomb squad down here, though, right? There's no direct activations between first Aiden at this point, so that should be fine. Okay. Let's take on the Lone Shark. We should be able to take this down pretty easily. Get all these hasty effects off the Shark Ray. Shark Ray, Ballista you are not. It does get that scaling damage, but the charges are what's so big, what makes Ballista so good. That was an easy round. All right, hit up the cash cannon. All right, so up next, I really hate passing on Tox Clocks, but we're a couple of things going into this. Like, we have lost a lot early. I would love to have this game kind of maintain to where we can still lose another round without being sent to the enchantment land. So we have, 2 more losses, or 3 in total instead of just 1. So say, we win the next 4 days, then we're on day 10, and we can take a 10 hit into 14 prestige. And so when we go up against that bullshit build that just high rolled everything, we aren't completely knocked out of the game. I like the idea of going for that. And to make that happen, we need to get good now. And to get good now, we really want to level up before we hit the next PvP round. And if we do that, we need to go to the mountain pass and get the experience points. And so it's tough to pass on Tox Clocks. This is where we would get a lot of potential long-term stability, landing on a charge item, haste item, or something. But I think with the way the game started and going 0 and 3, we need to get good now. And fuck me. Fucking treasure chest. That's a disaster. I want to take it back. Take it back. Send it to Tox Clocks. Oh, we got Chronos, though. Always do love a good haste item. So what nonsense do we have in here? Turbo Cog, not that great. You can give an item 2 seconds of haste every 4 seconds. It's not super spectacular, though. Turbo Combat Core is little interesting. It's just these big items don't play too nicely with the Companion Core. If we're trying to get a bunch of activations for the Ballista, it doesn't quite work. He's not a vehicle either. It's just getting those triple hastes is pretty big in terms of scaling up Ballista. Like, I guess the thing that we could look to do, let me free up some space in here to sell this shit we're never going to use, is the build could look to do this. Like, these are kind of free items that could go. The thing I'm wanting to consider is if we're going to play Race Carl and we're going to play that core, then that's going to be like these 5 items to the right. That's like Armadillo and these 3 to the right. Then if we want to fit in Metronome, we have to take out First Aiden. Now, the thing with First Aiden is he's not like super strong. He's just a very fast activator, right? He activates on that 3 seconds, so he's usually your first one to go. But then he kicks everything else off, right? He goes, Lefty Lucy activates, we get the charge on Companion Core, and so things just start flowing from that activation, and having to wait like 5 and 6 seconds to get your first activation is the kind of real bane of Dooley in this patch. But, I mean, the Combat Core is a 4-second item instead of just a 3, so it's not completely crazy that we could use that. And then I want to just get Metronome. Right, I want to get Metronome in to where this First Aiden would be. I think that's probably valid. I think this might be okay. So let's do this. We're going to pick up this core.
Chronomancy doesn't just win
Let's take a roll.
It feels good.
There is also a world to where we just don't play the Companion Core. That might be a little bit too greedy, because it's going to be pretty easy to get both of these upgrades going the rest of the way.
The longer your life, think about it.
But that's definitely not off the table. I'll skip GPU. Like, typically with these double core builds, you want that kind of thing, but I think that's a little far away from where we're at. So, okay. So that looks good. Keep in First Aiden. Armadillo, I could see still using. If we're not using Armadillo, we're going to be going Bomb Squad, which could be okay. Just get another haste activator for the Ballista. We should have enough damage at this point between the Ballista and the Combat Core. I don't think we need Armadillo. Alright, let's see how it goes. Should be level 9, but this game's bullshit, huh? This game is bullshit. You heard it here first. Go tell Raynad. So what do we got? We got a Metronome Power Drill, but he doesn't have the activators. We should be pretty okay at this point. I can't recommend playing Power Drill if it's not enchanted. It's a pretty shitty item in the early game. But he's coming in, got his big freeze. I think we survived it. Fucking just barely short. I guess we'll take back the trash talk on the opponent's build. I guess we got to take it back. That's a bummer. Like, we can still lose on the next day and not lose all of our prestige, but man, this is rough. Just gonna start taking loot items out of these. Gunpowder's probably not gonna do anything. It was so close. All right, though. We got the money. We got enough, I think. We can go to the small shop. Metronome turns up at least. That's a pretty big deal. So let's see. That we need to add in. So our build is going to start to look like this. And then whatever we have left over can go at the end. I don't like having Bomb Squad only touching a single ally. And so I guess we'll use Wallace for the moment, but not excited about it. Do we just put GPU in instead of Wallace? I mean, it does haste both of the cores, double activations for Ballista. I didn't watch enough to see if our companion core was staying completely hasted. Let's see. But we still want to keep this awkward positioning so that first Aiden activates the lefty Lucy. All right, so that's fine. We can go to Barkham. Sell off all these small items that we've picked up. Ooh, not ammo. Not using that guy, that guy, that guy, that guy, that guy. Roll past these burn things. Roll past these power drills.
Maybe next time?
Okay, so looking good there. With this, I think we want to go to Cosmic Rock. Getting the when you crit haste skill is pretty good, especially if we're able to get these cycles up and running. There's a big crit, 640 rolling through. Another big one hitting. Do we have a vehicle and it's just not listed? Why do we have 30% crit there at the end? Friend weapon. Core-Tech friend. Core-Tech weapon. Is Turbo Combat Core a vehicle and it just doesn't say? Right, because we should only have 8% crit. What am I missing? He has to be, right? The Turbo Combat Core is at 0. Deactivated, he's at 10. Deactivated, he's at 20. Deactivated, he's at 30. Okay, so we do have a vehicle. We don't have to count on Race Carl. Race Carl would scale up. Interesting. It definitely does not say vehicle up here. I wonder if that's a bug or if there's just not enough space for the tooltip. But good to know. We don't have to navigate our board around to make Race Carl fit. All right, so how are we going to improve? I guess we'll go to the non-weapon item shop. It's like I'm kind of leaning towards just taking taking the guaranteed good stuff at this point. Like the core of the build is here. Fight a monster, most definitely. I was thinking of taking the extra shields. I guess the shields would have fallen off now that we got this free PvE round. But hum, I tell ya, hum. What you got? Tracer rounds when you burn, get some crit? Sure. All right, so what are we getting in here? There is the shield shop. I think that the times have passed on potentially going for Armadillo. Right, you could put Armadillo on Metronome, use that to be a big scaler, but I think that's probably off the table at this point. I'm leaning towards the Celestial Conduit and putting it on Ballista. Right, the combat core is already upgraded, so we got to be very careful not to overwrite. Ballista's... She is our big source of damage here. I don't think the poison really works on any of these. It does scale up the damage. But the thing that we're struggling with here is actually just having sustain. Like maybe the the shield effect is the best. Let me see if we can pull up Ballista real quick. Okay, well, so the Ballista upgrade with shields is going to be what we want, right? Shield equal to this item's damage. And so while it's not going to be good in the sense of activating Armadillo, it is going to give us the sustain we need to scale up a little bit. So I think that's okay. Probably a little bit better than Radiant, and then everything strikes me as better than Poison. So we can give her the shield effect, and then if we get to the point to where you know, we find another like burn or we find a poison or something, the companion core is a fine target for it. Like I prefer to put something like slow. I like heavy cores since they activate so many times and they hit 2 targets, but I think this is good. All right, definitely glad to be able to scale up shields against this sniper rifle. Very low damage sniper rifle though, only 450 damage. I'm going to be real with you, that's a pretty shit tier sniper rifle. I just showed them how the crits work, right? We just spiked in a 1200 and 1300 damage crit right back to back. Learn from the techs, my dude. Okay, so what we got? Medium item shop. Not that great of a shop anymore. It's really only going to produce ballistas for us. Like, I guess there's a world to where we don't hate missiles. Would we prefer missiles actually over first Aiden and GPU? I could see that being a probably, right? It's not going to deal a bunch of damage. Maybe we find a scaling item at some point in the game, right? When you sharp corners, whatever, when you shield, get bonus attack or something, but it should be a better activator than first Aiden. It technically does as much hasting as first Aiden does, right? First Aiden's going to activate once for a haste, then Metronome once for a haste, and then with the missiles activating twice, they are the same speed, but that double haste is going to land on Metronome. I think this is going to be okay. Let's pull these out and actually put the missiles in. I'm going to go ahead. Oh, I guess we can wait for the shop before we gunpowder missiles, but we'll want to load her up with the extra ammo if we can. But nothing we're using in here. Okay. I don't hate it. We're getting to the point to where the activations on the companion core aren't super frequent, right? We aren't getting a ton of charges on it with all these items that we're pulling out, but we'll see how it looks. I guess it's missiles again kind of counts like 2 items. It is nice getting those guaranteed hastes onto the ballista though, right? With the first Aiden, one was guaranteed for Metronome, one was random. Now with the missiles over here, both just directly hit. Now what's this? When you slow charge an item, that can be so huge if we hit a heavy somewhere. But with this stuff, I typically don't like the Dooley skills. The slow skills can be okay, especially since we have a large item on board. And so I'm going to go to the slow items. I like the ones that, this one, the big net. You want to use a large item, slow 2 items for 3 seconds. Pretty decent amount of slow coming out of it. Okay, then nothing really on board with what we're doing. We'll just go to Burninator bot for the EXP. You got to see those flamethrowers though. If you don't watch our shorts, I had a fun flamethrower video that I put up yesterday or the day before. Got up to 8x burn on the flamethrower. It's very easy to get the flamethrower to diamond to where it does double burn. Oh, here it is. But you can then try and put fiery on it. And so if you get the fiery enchant, it gets 4x burn. And then I got glass cannon as a kind of meme to double up the strength of all of our weapons and putting 8x burn on the flamethrower. It's pretty fun. It took me 3 tries to get the it took me 3 tries to get the 10th victory, but it came about. All right, but here I went to the item shop since it can hit, you know, everything in our build. Otherwise, I'm gonna be much more selective in terms of picking shops that are good now. But with this, we'll take the 10 gold. Seems better than a rando item at this point. Rare event or shop. What you got? Upgrade an item. It's probably just got to be ballista. I'm not gonna do the I'm not gonna do the flamethrower. That's what our last video was. It was a companion core, but we built into flamethrower. Sell it before we get tempted. Sorry, we're not here for the memes, but
You should know, I'm a bit of a legend.
but no, if we get the upgrade skill, we can get the upgrade skill that'll hit both the core, or hit both cores. We can also find that medium item that upgrades the cores and try and get both of them at the same time. And so I think I'd prefer to just hit Ballista at this point. What is this? This is a Matchbox Vanessa
Defeat does not defeat
with
me.
double shells, double pearls. Interesting. And she's got Toxic Flame. Wow, she has quite the combo there. Still brought the beat down, but that's a lot of synergies coming across. All right, so what's up next? Same thing with the items. If it's something that has, you know, all the stuff that we could get, then we'll kind of look at it, but we'll definitely just be purchasing a lot more chocolate bars from this point forward. Nothing in this shop.
As long as we get to hang out.
So what's up next? Non-weapon items. Only hits metronome, so we'll pass. I'll take the damage boost. Whatever guy's on the right, the weapons platform. Pick up a... Oh, he wasn't the flamethrower. Flamethrower was the last guy. But he does have strong stuff. The skill is what's quite good, right? When you use a large item, haste two small items. I guess it doesn't work in our build here because we don't have the small items to go with it, but definitely a big build-around item with distributed systems. Didn't hit it. Alright, so interesting. How greedy are we going to get with this? And so I haven't been watching our hastes, but I don't think we ever need to upgrade metronome. Just between the haste coming out of the combat core and the companion core, I think everything is just going to be hasted enough to where it's not that big of a deal. We could put the upgrade onto Miss Isles, or we could just go into gold skills at this point. If we find the upgrades for both cores, then fine. Otherwise, we'd look for something kind of scaling. I'm just going to upgrade the missiles here. Again, I think it's the best opportunity to get good now. I mean, we've got to kind of dig for that specific medium item, but the shops are going to be pretty limited in where we go now.
You look like a hardy.
So go to the dig site. Don't want to spend a ton of money in here. Hopefully we can just find a quick upgrade item or something, or maybe a rando diamond thing that's spectacular. Not sapphire. We'll spend it up to like the 5 gold mark or something and then just give up on it. Don't want matchbox. That's not for us. Heavy copper ed. Not going to do it. I'll just take the preserver. It sells for 16.
Were the people who left these things
Like there's not a ton of items that'll be actual upgrades for what we're doing at this point forward. Now at this, I guess we can go to the large item shop. I mean, I would love to get the pure value way of just upgrading the combat core, but that's just too greedy, and so we'd like to turn it gold if we can. We've already been fairly greedy with this missiles and stuff, and so let's at least look for an upgrade to the actual cores. What you got? Lots of colors on here. Big armadillo build. He's got the shielded metronome to go with it. Kind of scary. We're kind of lucky that his power drill is shielded. That power drill would be very infinite if it was putting down burn or putting down poison or putting down hastes. Zinged him though. Those big crits rolling through. That's what you love to see. All right, so what do we got? Small items don't want. Let's just start chocolate barring. Got a ton of money at this point. We're gonna look for medium item shops and then things to deal with the large items. And so, I'm kind of curious on those non-weapon items. Is just the way to find. There's that medium item that upgrades the core, which we're gonna be, you know, it's probably the best thing that we can find at this point. And the non-weapon item shop is the place to dig for it. But I don't know how tough it is to find. Here we'll fight Boss Harrow. I would love to pick up Assault Focus if we can. When any non-weapon item is used, slow it for 2 seconds. Does not a ton against us, right? It would slow our Companion Core, but the Companion Core fights through slows pretty well with all the friend activations. And so it's something that should hurt our opponents more than it hurts us. Kind of tough to get to land, though. But these other crit items and strength items, the skills are all good. Katana's not, it's garbage. And so let's go into the diamond shop. Always going to search diamond. I want to find knife skills. So we didn't get it on the first roll. Well-oiled machine is kind of tempting since we do have 2 cores, right? Knife skills is the one that when you activate a weapon, it gets the cooldown reduction, the 5%. And so, you know, ideally, most of these are going to be landing on ballista because, you know, reducing the cooldown on companion core isn't that spectacular. But with the double core, I am a little bit more okay with well-oiled machine. I think I'm just going to go ahead and take it. It would be a disaster if we rolled and then knife tricks wasn't there. And so while it's not as good as knife tricks, I think we have to, we just have to come in and take it. What do we got now? Sells items. I mean,
Come on in. Let's chat.
I'm just not super excited about trying to upgrade this missiles. So nothing there, nothing here.
That's okay. It was nice to
Again, we're pretty limited in what we can actually upgrade. Take the skill upgrades out of this one. We're not going to burn anything, so Tracer Fire doesn't do anything. I just realized the... Oh, well, it's tough. The left item has the crit, which is the missiles, but that's the one that also activates the haste ability. So we'll just leave it as is. What do we got here? Life Stealing Combat Core. Big damage scaling coming out here as well. Looks like it's getting close. It started landing a crit. We were starting to land some crits. His health just shot up. Oh, that was a big Ballista save. Ballista gave us a big 2500 shield bonus as we fell down to 400 health. Well done, girl. I appreciate that. You had 9,300 damage. It's a big fucking number. It's almost 10,000, you know? 10,000 might be the biggest number. I did the mathematics on it. It checks. It checks. So what do we got here? Small and medium. I mean, I guess that's where we're going to find that cog thing. We got to find that cog and get our cores upgraded. Didn't turn up. Bummer.
And then sell it to me.
Not going to visit the hero merchants. We're not going to use another merchant's goods. So we'll take the chocolate bars. Then up in here, Void Colossus. I'm just not... The risk reward on these things just isn't that great. Like, having him blow up a combat core, we'd probably just lose the round. So we'll just fight is the property baron? Let's just fight the hulking experiment. We're not hurting for money. We're not going to use any of those abilities. So we'll just take this one. I guess there's a world where parting shot's relevant, right? We do have an ammo item on board. But yeah, it's such a disaster to go into that 5 experience point fight and have them blow up the core and then we just fucking lose. And so, what you got for us? We don't need money at this point. We'll just take the loot items. We're getting there though. Try and get ourselves that 7th win. What you got? A Dooley shop or a haste item? He can upgrade the core. That's going to be too good, right? You get the 10% health, upgrade the core. Double diamonds out here now, and then a burn shop. Okay, I'll put the burn on the companion core. I think it's better than missiles, right? Let me see. Missiles gets burn 3. Companion gets burn 12. And we should be getting more activations out of the core, I think. She does activate. Well, she does get crits. Does the companion core get crit once you put the burn onto it? I'm not certain how that plays out. Missiles does have multicast though, and we've got the cinders to put an upgrade in. I don't know. Some nerd can do the math and tell me which of these is better. I'm going to put it on missiles. Do the math, nerd. I'm not. I can't do it. I don't know. I tried to do simple division earlier and couldn't fucking do it. So. What we got here? Looks like he's got a bunch of poison skills. His only poison thing is the pirate ship, but he's got the pirate ship armadillo combo. See, I guess he doesn't immediately infinite us. He's got 2 armadillos. What the fuck? Okay. I mean, doesn't seem like he's breaking through our barriers. He's not dropping enough poison on us. We had 84% crit. It was like everything we do has to be critting at this point, right? Our shields are going to carry through the sandstorm. We're up to 10,000. He's got a little bit of poison on us, but not enough poison to break our health. God, his have started to scale up. What a fucking nonsense battle. He's got these garbage, like when you poison gain crit things, and he's finally getting himself up to 100 health. He's going to be able to maybe breach what we're doing here. What the fuck? This is never gonna end. His shit poison's gonna be what's relevant here. Oh my god, that is a bummer. Really gonna get poisoned out of this one. I don't know how his stuff's keeping up. Like he's barely got scaling. It's just that one core. Did we finally tag it at the end, or is that a fucking tie? Longest battle of the year, Jesus Christ. I don't know. Like that's the build I look at. What a fucking nonsense battle. That's the build I look at that ought to be like, holy fuck, this is just like goes infinite right out the gates, right? It's got double armadillo with duct tape and model ship. So when you use the adjacent items, it charges. Like, I don't know how this build just wasn't immediately popping off. Jesus Christ, he's got 96 activations on one, 81 activations on the other. 200. I thought 9K was a big damage on Ballista the other day, but apparently 270K is a little bit more. We were fighting through that duct tape. That's where the scaling was coming from? Phew, okay. Need a towel and a nap after that one. Alrighty, let's get those upgrades though, huh? We can go to Barkham, get the medium items, get that cog. There it is, the scrap metal. It's going to get us all the way up to diamond on everything but the metronome. Looks pretty good. We can sell these small items as well, get those extra dollars. I don't think it's worth rolling. I'm not certain if that item can show up again, but the thing to know with scrap metal is it's upgradable, and so at diamond it takes 1 second off of your cooldowns, and so even though we're at diamond, it makes sense to pick those up and hold on to them so we can try and get that big cooldown reduction on our cores. Now, once we got the upgrade hammer, I mean, I don't think we need to upgrade metronome, and so let's get past that. I'm just gonna take the big cooldown reduction here and put it on our turbo core. I think that's the, well, it's more reduction on Ballista. Maybe she's the better target. Just the, right, it takes 0.7 seconds, almost a full second off of her cooldown, to where, you know, getting extra activations off the combat core should make the well-oiled machine pop off a little bit more. Alright, easy peasy. What's this? When you use a tool, reload. Okay. I don't think we'll get anything out of that. And then, yeah, no upgrades. Just skills. What you got for us? Use first 4 times you use your rightmost item freeze. That's fine. First 5 times you burn, charge a shield item. That's actually pretty interesting as we use missiles and have her come in and charge things like ballista. But like ballista is not the greatest charge target, right? Hitting turbo combat core is a huge upgrade, but she doesn't do a ton. She needs all the scaling to hit, then she does a lot later. And so I think I'm going to skip over that. Coolant leak might have been what we should have took, but frozen shots does essentially the same thing. First 4 times you use your slowest weapon, freeze something for 1 second. Well, this is the big one though, right? When you use a friend, your weapons gain 3 damage. Yeah, that's the big one. That's the big one.
All wisdom has power, but not all
Okay,
power
nice. And
is wisdom.
this is the bummer about putting the burn onto missiles. Now that we landed on lifesteal, putting lifesteal on companion core doesn't do anything. That's a bummer. It kind of is what it is. I mean, if we'd landed on something like heal here, we would have felt a lot better about the order that we did it in. So it just kind of is what it is. We'll go to we'll skip over that. We'll go to the medium shop, look for some of those cogs. That's the literal only item that we want for the remainder of the game.
It's been nice.
So, you know, fairly straightforward if we can find it. Small and large items isn't going to have it, so we'll take the weapon bonus. All right, into the next day. Another well-oiled Dooley. What you got here? Bringing the ray gun. Got a heavy cord, dropping some slows on us. Okay. All right, I finally watched the metronome. We do have some moments to where the to where the missiles isn't hasted. Got burned down in this one though. That railgun was popping. How much damage does it deal? 8k. Surprised we couldn't just fade that, but really started to zing in there. Just a little bit too slow on our scaling. Okay. As we as we had to pass up on lifesteal. Bummer. All right, radiant core it is. Not exciting, but yeah, we got something, huh? All right, so no weapons. Just take the loot. What you got in here? Cooldown, but it's on bronze. We'll take the vial of blood for the 3 experience points. Go ahead and sell. Small and large don't want travel anywhere. We can travel to a skill shop. Not big bite. Not chocolate bars. Not friends. Not neutral items. I don't think we need that. Sells stuff. Large items. Sells items. Haste, slow, and cooldown items. Could maybe find a metronome in this one. Let's just roll down to like 50 gold looking for a skill shop. Risk some coin. Similar, we can just get the experience points. All right.
People think the body powers the mind.
Just got to be
but
as obnoxious
it's
as
the
you
other
can
way
at this
around.
stage of the game, and so I don't think we want Captain's Charge. I'm leaning towards like when you maybe we should have gone to the burn shop. Do we have when you haste freeze? We probably just need freeze things at this point. We don't have it, so we can roll. Don't need the accelerator. What's this one? When you use, we don't use. Oh, we do use. Hang on. When you use non-weapon items, each fight charge a weapon. So we activate the companion core to hit a weapon. Probably rather just have more lefty loosies.
The hardest part of my technique is believing it.
All right, then we can beat the Volkos Enforcer. No reason to fight the Trash Titan. Trash Titan can be exceptionally strong with the combat core. He has that skill that when you use a small item, charge a large item, but we're not going to move any small items in here.
It's so cold.
Okay, give me the EXPs. Get that loot item. Medkit. Garbage. Garbage, I tell you. All right, keep pushing on. Don't really want small items. We'll just go to snack time. It's more
You can learn a
more than we can get from the shop there. More health that we can get from chocolate bars, I should say. Ooh, now interesting. When any non-weapon item is used, slow it for 4 seconds. We were looking for this earlier, and it's on the diamond tier version. That's pretty big, especially since we put Radiant on our companion core, right? It shouldn't be able to be slowed. So that's going to be pretty fantastic. I was immediately looking at Cosmic Wind, right? Knowing that when we crit, and we crit a lot, we get to pick up those extra hastes. But, man, 4 seconds of slow is huge. I'm pretty excited to pick this thing up.
look at those talons.
Now, against AOC's feet picks out here. welcome to the internet for the day, I guess. Everybody likes what they like, I guess. And what do we got here? Just our sweet upgrades don't really do anything. That's a bummer. Why is our shit activating so fucking slow? It got slowed, but the activations are like non-existent. I don't think we're going to recover out of this one. I don't get why that one went so poorly. It was like, why? We only got 5 activations out of Ballista. What did he do? Oh, he has Bonk. Okay. That explains a lot. He has both Bonk. He has the Assault Focus as well. But again, that didn't do anything. He's got Bonk bringing it. Because it's like you would see the slows hit, but it was like the slows weren't enough. It's just that Bonk being obnoxious. Is there something else in here? I just feel like like even with all of the slows, it doesn't feel like it should be that bad, but I guess it was. So, all right, man, bummer. That's why I don't really like taking these things into the later days. It feels like, you know, as we played this game, and we mentioned like the idea of open forwarding and teamfight tactics to where you intentionally lose early to scale up the losing streak bonus to get the economy up and running. Then you also get to, you know, shop at the other shops earlier. So there's some, you know, very valid strategies in terms of intentionally losing early. Because like one of the worst things you could do in teamfight tactics was like win, lose, win, lose, win, lose, win, lose. You either wanted to be on a win streak, you wanted to be on a lose streak. Now, I think they've edited that a little bit in recent seasons, but back when I was playing it big, that was a major point of what you're doing. But with this game, it's completely different, right? You're not playing against people with the same record as you. You're not going into day 4 at 0-3 and playing someone with a 0-3 record. You're going into day 4 playing against someone on day 4. And so there isn't a ton of reason to really look to extend out the game like that, unless you're, say, specifically looking for one type of late game build. And so I've never done this with like Pygmalion, but if you wanted to play a Pygmalion Fort build and Fort only shows up at Diamond, or maybe it only shows up at Gold, you have a lot of reason to want to push into the later days, because that's when you're going to find Fort. And so if you start off, say, you know, 7-0, and you've really like devoted into having like good board right now, and then you lose day 8 and day 9, you're pretty close to just being knocked out of the game. I guess you need to push one day more forward, but I really prefer to just come into these and just win immediately, right? Win on day 10, day 11, and you don't run into nearly as many nonsense builds as you do like that round was, to where your opponent has bonk, your opponent has heavy on like 4 different items, your opponent has like all of these slow effects. They have just like the opportunity to put together all of these obnoxious combos, because the people without the obnoxious combos either won on day 10 or day 11, or they got knocked out of the game. And so it's very challenging taking a fair build like this into the later days, because it just doesn't have those combos, right? I mean, we have Lefty Lucy down here, but we aren't, say, like abusing Thick Hide. We aren't abusing something like Retool. We didn't find Knife Tricks. We only got Well-Oiled Machine. We don't have any instant hastes. We don't have any instant charges. And so, you know, it can just be like extremely challenging to fight your way through these days as the fair builds become more challenging to run across. And so I know it doesn't like exactly play out in that manner, right? There is again, like if you're on day 10, you're on day 10, but when you're at day 10 and you have a 5-4 record, that's a lot different than being on day 10 with a 9-0 record, because you're going to have to still win like 4 and 5 days beyond that. And so I think that's the kind of way to think about it in that sense. If you're going to be losing early, you have to be able to win on day 15. And that can happen strategically on purpose, but if it's not happening on purpose, then it's pretty tough to kind of catch back up. But nonetheless, I think we went pretty reasonably on this build. We weren't able to get past that 7-win mark up into the 10s, but I think this is a fairly decent thing that you can be doing with the combat core. I like how this went. I like the synergies we put together, going with the ballista as our big scaling attack thing, and then our combat core as a vehicle. Again, this is a vehicle. We didn't realize it until later, but making use of the flashy pilot, we intended to use Race Carl, but the turbo combat core picked that out on its own. And so we were able to, pick up the weak points that Dooley has. Dooley, with these style of builds, tends to lack in the critical department and tends to lack in getting the combo up and running. And we did the best we could there. We found the critical strike scaling in that flashy pilot, and then we did the best we could in instant activations with this 3-second missiles over here to the left, double activating and trying to get things kicked off, but didn't have that immediate haste right at the start of the battle. Otherwise, pretty happy with how this went. We definitely made some mistakes along the way, got zinged with some enchantments and lost out on a couple of places, but ultimately pretty happy with how this run went. Had a pretty good time with that. And so I had fun with that. Hope you did too. Is that is going to do it for us today. So hope everyone enjoyed the video. Hope you maybe learned a thing or two along the way. And you had a good time watching. This is Busted Me. Thank you for being here.